Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you this plan and prep with me. This is for week 14. It's going to be a little bit different because while I am going to be planning with you guys, I am going to be sharing with you guys in the position in which we are at in our homeschooling because, well, things are not working exactly the way I feel like they should be working. We are not getting our routine yet, and I know we are on our week 14, but still I am having issues with our routine. So that is what you're going to be looking at right now. So you will be seeing me planning as well. I'm going to be chatting with you guys, letting you guys know how I am troubleshooting my homeschool, because I feel like we haven't been working the way that we supposed to work, and part of that is the job that I am doing. I am working with a schedule that is not my normal schedule, and it's just making things a little bit complicated. But I would like to just share with you guys how I am planning to troubleshoot our homeschool in order for us to be able to work with the materials that we have. So if you notice, there's been some weeks that we are able to do all of our materials, maybe one or two that we don't cover. Example here, Spanish. We didn't do a Spanish for this day, so that was on a Thursday. So we cover everything, but we didn't do a Spanish. We've been doing IW, so I have to add that in here. We are not where we need to be with IW. So IW, we're doing a structure and style. I think he's on week 10 or week 11. And it's just going slow because I haven't got my rhythm yet. So that is a problem there, because usually by this time I know already how I want to run things in our homeschool. But things are going around that we don't expect, and that's taking us away from what we need to be doing. So another week that we didn't complete things was the week 12, and that was around October and November, beginning of November. And you see that we didn't do history, and we didn't do part of the Spanish when it comes to la cartilla fonética. We didn't do science for this day. So if you see, it's not something that I will feel like we haven't done anything or we're not progressing, but definitely it's not the way that I want to be working in here in our homeschool. So if you notice, in here we had a non-school day, and this is a day that was not planned to be a non-school day. So I would like to see how I can rearrange things here in our homeschool in order to be able to work with the materials that we need to be working. As well, if I would like to continue with these of the 3 weeks on and 1 week off, because sometimes when I see that we didn't work with the day, I tend to grab from the days that he is supposed to have off. So this coming week, he's supposed to have it off. And if you notice, Friday, we didn't do that well. And part of the Thursday, we finished this. I just have to mark that off. But we haven't touched science again, and it's because we haven't have the time, and it's not because the science doesn't work for us. It's my type of a schedule what is making things not working out for us lately. So if you notice, on Saturdays and Sundays, Saturday is my day for cleaning, Sundays is the day that we go to church. So I have to be able to just organize myself in a way that I can just do the things that I have planned to do. Obviously, you can plan as much as you want, and everything is not gonna go as you planned. So I understand that, and that is the reason why I would like to troubleshoot things in here in our homeschool. But if you notice, I start to divide what I work during the weekend when it comes to cleaning. So cleaning day for week 13 was kitchen, bathroom, and balcony. I tackled the bathroom, and part of the balcony, but not so much the kitchen, just here and there. So that is something that probably is going to move on towards the next week. And in here I have the next it's going to probably move towards the next week. And in here I have the next week, and I already start adding things the way that I want for them to happen during the week. But on the back side of my planner is where I just made note of in detail of how I want things to be working. Some days I just don't add anything and I just go straight to the weekly plan, and sometimes I just like to plan ahead things in detail. The reason for that is because usually when I plan in detail, I can see how I am working with things in our homeschool, and it's easy for me to see if we are able to touch on the things that I want to touch during the week. Okay, so example, on week 9 for our week 9 we were supposed to do poem study, and just start working with a poem study, and I have as well some details of how I want to run the homeschool. So in here I usually make note as well, and I said poem study to start on week 9, and as well I made note of how he's been doing during our homeschool. So he's been working very well with Matthew C, and I have that noted in here. And I have some things that I would like to work with him, including the poetry and rhyming and things like that. So that's what I want to do in this side of my planner. I would like to start planning for our homeschool. So that's what you're going to see me doing, and I am going to be chatting with you guys. So the first thing that I always add is Bible, because that is the first subject that we start usually when we do homeschool and we do car schooling. So during our car school time, we start with Bible, and we start doing the website where Aubrey and Brian are the ones giving the introduction of the lesson, and is for building blocks. And in here he's going to be working with lesson 20 is Hope's Suffering. So you're going to see that it gives you a lesson focus, the key passages. So usually I like to make note of that on my planner. The objectives, I have them in here, and the building blocks lesson, which is with Brian and Avery. Sorry, I said Aubrey, it's Avery. Here, I like to look at this area, which is the teaching tips, because sometimes I would like to do an activity with them. Sometimes I have him doing the same activity that they're doing when Avery and Brian, do the building blocks. So in here, they always have an optional activity or tips for you to be able to work with that lesson. So usually I look at this, and if I see that there's nothing that I have to provide separately, then I just move on and I just read whatever I need to read to be able to provide that information for him. This is my information prior start working with the lesson, and this is the information that I am going to share with him, meaning part for his lesson. Okay, so I just tend to read that. That's what I usually do, and then I go to the comprehension questions. So I know he has 15, and I like to have him reviewing the memory verses that we have learned so far. But I would like to add in here that we are on lesson 20, which I added already. So lesson 20 here. And I add as well the key passages. I like to add that because if I am in a hurry in my car when we're doing car schooling, it's easy for me to find whatever it is that I need to find when it comes to look in the Bible. And we have to do the building blocks and the memory verses. Usually I like to add the title of the lesson. So this is Hobbes' suffering. And the memory verses that we are working with are on the back here, but usually he looks to these memory verses on the building blocks because they have made songs out of the memory verses. So we are working still with Psalm 119, 89 till 90, 2 Timothy, and as well Psalm 834. And we add recently John 10:9. Okay, so that's for Bible. I like to add as well his workbook here. And I add the pages because usually I want to make sure that he is paying attention to the things that he needs to be doing with his workbook, because usually he tends to forget and he just misses the things that he needs to be doing. So I make sure that I have them noted in here. And if he thinks that he doesn't have nothing to do with his Bible program, I just make sure that he knows that he has something to do in his workbook and that he needs to pay attention. And I usually highlight with my meat liner highlighter the areas that I want to pay attention here in my planner. So what I do is that I highlight this part where it says Bible. Just gives it a little bit of color, and I'm going to be looking at the workbook for these pages. Okay, so here I have the pages, and I have in here that he is going to be working with 1, 2, and 3. And what I do is I divide, depends on how much he's going to be doing with his work in his workbook. So 113 is until 118. So I add in here 113 to 118. And I just example the first day, since he doesn't have much to do, I probably will have him doing his memory verse in the back of the page. And usually for these, he's not so much in the like to do crossword. So I will just have him do this page, and the next day he will do the next page, and so forth with the rest of the pages that he needs to be working with. But it's very simple and easy for him to do. He's working very well with the Answers in Genesis Bible program. It's been taking us a little bit longer because first I made a mistake. Once you do obviously a certain amount of lessons, it has the child taking a test. Well, I was doing a review on my own for my kid without realizing that chapter 18 is an actual review of the lessons that he was going to take, the quiz and the test, in particular the test. So if you notice in here, let me see if I can find that page, is a review of Creation to Babel, which is a review of the amount of lessons that he was going to be taking for the test, is what I am trying to say. So I didn't realize that. So that makes us waste a little bit more of time, because when I realized that it was a review, obviously I wanted for him to go through that review. And that makes us take a little bit more of time, but we are moving with our answers in Genesis curriculum. He is about to finish with the level 1, so that is something that is very exciting, because then we're going to be able to start the next level of this curriculum, which we have already here. So that is done. And now that I have this, I am going to be adding One Blood for Kids. We've been working with One Blood for Kids, and we've been enjoying a lot this book and the information that it has. So that's what I want to add in here. We are on page, we're almost half of the book. So we are on page 31. We are going to start with divided race, and that's what I want to add in here. So I am adding One Blood for Kid, and I am planning to do page 31, page 33, and I think I would like to stop at page 33. Okay. For the first part, and then for the rest of the days we will be covering 34, 35, possible, 34, 35. So that will be One Blood for Kids. This is from Master Books, and it's been working very well for our Bible. And I will be adding as well something else for Bible once we finish with One Blood for Kids. Okay, so far that is working well, and I like to plan ahead what we are going to be doing for Bible, because Bible can take a good amount of time, because I like to take a good amount of time and be very careful with what we're doing for Bible. So after we do Bible, we start with language arts. And with language arts, obviously we finished already with all about reading. So that is something that has been working very well for us. The fact that we are not doing all about reading anymore. We are done with it. He graduated from the all about reading. And we've been working with reading pathways. And that's what we've been doing lately. It's just working with reading pathways, just reviewing again the phonetical sounds as well. Just trying to get him to be a little bit more fluent, because I feel like he needs a little bit more in that area. Now, once we finish reading pathways, that's where I am starting to think a little bit better on what we're going to be doing possible for the upcoming year, because I would like to reduce the amount of materials because of my type of work, and to see how he's going to be working a little bit better with the things that we have to be doing when it comes to reading, language arts, spelling, grammar. Because grammar is another one that is going to end soon. He has Mowgli to be working with. He is on lesson 12 or 13. You're going to see that eventually. And as well, he has Frog Prince. That's the next one that will come. And after that, he's not interested on doing Little Mermaid. So we are going to move on from fixed grammar. But at the same time, while we are working with fixed grammar, we have to be working with writing. So writing is at some point is going to end soon, because, well, structure and style only has 24 lessons, and he's already about halfway of the structure and style. And I would like to just see how we're going to be probably switching from writing, not because the structure and style doesn't work for him, but more because it's not working for me, in a sense that my schedule changed and it's just making things a little bit complicated. I haven't been able to just grade his papers the way I like, and I feel like when I do that, he goes a little bit behind, because I am not there to give him input constantly on the work that he's doing. And sometimes I have to leave things for the weekend, and I feel like it's not working. Lately, he's not being able to give me as well his presentation when it comes to the writing, and it's just making things feel like we're not doing a good job, and that is something that I have to be careful with. Okay, so hopefully you're able to see because my light is lacking in here, but I just finished planning a little bit ahead so I don't bother you guys with everything that I have to make note, and as well because I wanted to make sure that I cover everything I want to cover in this video. So I was talking about structure and style, and it's just working well for us, but obviously with my schedule it's making it a little bit more complicated. My schedule has changed a little bit, and it's making things and not working well for me when it comes to grade his work, and that's where I am having a little bit of trouble. So I would like to have something that will grade his work. So he's on week 9, day 3. He will be going for day 3. So he's moving very well with structure and style. So that's not a problem. And I would like to see what we're going to be doing next when it comes to writing. I might switch at some point because my schedule is not helping me when it comes to grading his papers. But so far he's working very well with the program. That's not the issue. We love IW and we like a lot the program, but I think it's time for us to change a little bit. Sorry guys, well that was my phone, so I will just continue. So writing, he's been working very well, and we are just going to move on from that. And as I was saying, reading pathways is working very well for us. So we're doing a few of them. If you notice in here where I wrote reading pathways, I am doing short A, letter A, short E, short I, and short O with him. And just practicing when it comes to reading pathways. It's a simple book, and we just want to get him more fluent. So I just want to get him more fluent. We want to be more fluent when it comes to the reading. So this is what we are using so far, and it's working very well so far, and he finds it very easy, which is something that I was looking for him. So I don't get him discouraged, as he can move on pretty fast when it comes with his reading. And when it comes to BJU, we are working with BJU. We are on lesson 17, so we are a little bit behind when it comes to BJU, but it's working very well. BJU is really good when it comes to reading and comprehension, and that is something that I really like about BJU. I like how colorful it is, and he enjoys that as well. So we've been working very well with BJU. And with the questions, I don't ask him all the questions. Sometimes we do go through the vocabulary, so that is something that I do like to do. But I have a lot of people asking me if I go through all the questions that are in the teacher guide when it comes to BJU. And no, imagine, I will never finish. Sometimes we do if we have the time. But when you go to the teacher guide, it has a lot of questions for each amount of pages. It depends on the pages that you guys are going to be reading for that day, for that lesson. And it has a certain amount of questions. You pick the questions that you want. You can customize, obviously, or you can do all of them if you guys have the time. But if you notice, these symbols in here are really good questions to make to your kid. Usually those are the ones that I do, and sometimes I just sprinkle one or other of the regular ones, but that's how I do it. And no, I just try it depends on the lesson, but we do go through the vocabulary, and if it has any activities or images that I have to show to him that is suggested in here that we have to show, then I would like to do that. So if you notice the vocabulary in here, I do have him go through that, and he does work with his workbook for BJU. So I just like to make sure that he's understanding everything. So I do have him working with his workbook, and if you hear me almost out of breath, it's because I'm moving back in here a lot. But if you notice in here, I have him just working with his workbook when it comes to BJU. Not a lot of things to do. For spelling, we continue working with traditional spelling. We still are on level 2 because I have him just review these books, the supplemental workbook, the activities that it has. It just has 2 activities per lesson, so he already did one of the activities, and I have him just completing the second one as a way of review before we move towards the next level of traditional spelling. And as well, I have the practice sheet, so I just made note of all of that in here on my planner. I want to make sure that I know what we're doing for that week, and if we are able to accomplish those things that I add in here. And it's just give me an idea when I am going to plan for the next week, what I have to do. If I have to look and move on something that we were not able to accomplish for this week, then I move it towards the next week, and so forth. We continue working with that. With grammar, we continue with fixed grammar, and it's working very well. He is going to be on week 13. Let me see if it's true. So yes, week 12, week 13 is the week that he's going to be working with. And he will be just on day 1, and he will continue until day 4 for this upcoming week. And remember that he is right now on his week off, so we are just moving little by little. So I just add in here fixed grammar and writing structure and style, because usually he does one after the other. We don't do writing structure and style every day, so we do writing Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then he has fixed grammar starting from Tuesday, and so forth. We work with the subjects. For Bible, he does Bible every day, and we do as well language arts, reading, as well as the spelling every day. And we do financial literacy one day, that's on Monday, with Matthew C. He's doing excellent. He's going to be on lesson 25. Well, we are going to be on lesson 25, and he's working very well. He's about to finish Matthew C. Gamma, and that is really good for us, because then he will be moving towards Matthew C. Delta, and I have Delta already in here. And he's been working with his financial literacy. So for Matthew C, I just detached the pages as well. I do the same thing with history, so you will see that eventually. But for Matthew C, I detach the pages, because usually we do it when we're doing car schooling, and sometimes we do it when we are here at home. So I just like to have those pages like that. It's easy for him. He is working with his test book as well. So this is working very well for us. We're going to continue with Matthew C until we finish it. Once we start with Delta, he is going to be starting as well with Apologias Math. And that is something that I just expressed to you guys before, that he was going to be working with Delta and Apologias Math as well. So this is something that is going to come very soon for him, and he will be working with both of them eventually. So that is good, because we have reduced the amount that we have to do for language art, and it's going to be going very well after we finish with reading pathways, and I decide to see how we're going to be taking our reading, obviously. Now, for financial literacy, he's been working very well with financial literacy. We are not where we need to be, but it's still working very well. He's enjoying this program, and it has a lot of activities. What I do like is that we do this just once a week, one day of the week, and it's working very well. It has activities. He is about to finish this book as well, so he will have one less book. I have another program already for financial literacy. I will just eventually share that with you guys, but so far I just want to share this with you. So we are working very well with financial literacy. Now, when it comes to history, we still are working with learning American history through literature, and we are on unit 3. Why? Because we are reading a lot, you guys. We are reading and reading and reading, and he's been enjoying that part of the program. So he is been reading. Learning American history has activities and movies. We watched already Sarah Plain and Tall. We read the story, and He watched the movie, and we are now reading Little House on the Prairie as a read aloud for our history. And he's been working as well. If you notice, we start just not too long ago with this book, because we were doing as well Native Americans, and this is from Yvonne Moore, the history pockets. He's been doing some activities in here when it comes to the Native Americans, so here are some of the activities that are suggested in here for him to do, and these eventually we will be attached to a portfolio. It will have some strings and decorations that he's been working, and as well these information in here that he's been coloring, and we have activities in here that he's going to be doing, and it's been working very well for us, and it goes very well with this program. So this is what we've been doing for history, is learning American history through literature, still on unit 3, so we're going a little bit slow with this, but we're moving. And he's been doing Native American history pockets as well. It's taking us long because I add something on top of everything. And you guys know that with the elections, I wanted to just take the time to pause a little bit what we were doing for our history and add a unit study for elections. And something that I did, it was that once I was going to vote, correct, I took him with me. I just asked if I can have him observing how people were just doing things, how people were their attitudes when they were going to vote as well. He saw how was the process for voting as well. I have the sample of our ballot, and he was able to look at that. I just explained to him, but I wanted as well a unit study because I want to make things as real as I can. So we are going to start these for this week. And this is something that I decided at the last minute, and I already have him, acting out a little bit what it was going to vote, and looking at the elections and looking at the debates and all of that. So he was able to see that and experience that, but I wanted a little bit more when it comes to that. So I decided to download these elections unit study. This is from Homeschool in a Box, and it's free on their website. So if you would like to grab that, that would be awesome. And it has some suggestions for books. Even if you don't do it now, you can still save it for the next time that you are able to use it. But it's a good way to have your kid getting more information and experience that time. And if you did as I did, you just took him to see the entire process, I think it's going to be a good addition to that experience, and for them to be able to do these activities. So if you want to see more about this unit study, just let me know, and I will have a video for you guys showing you in detail this unit study. So that is the reason why it's taking us a little bit longer when it comes to history. So I just been adding things here and there when it comes to history. Now, when it comes to science, we still are working with Apologia's science, not because the program is not working, but because it's taking us time. He wants to do the activities, and my schedule is so complicated lately that is not helping us when it comes to science and when it comes to writing. And we've been working little by little. So we are on lesson 5, and he's about to do this activity, and he would like to do this activity as well. So let's see how I can handle all of that. But we are on lesson 5, about to finish lesson 5 and begin starting with lesson 6. So that is something that you're going to be seeing as well, and that I am going to be adding in here, obviously. And after science, I would like to talk about Spanish. So Spanish, we continue working with Sun School Spanish. So he's on the review prior chapter 5. So this is something that is going very slow. He knows very well his blendings. He knows as well his sounds. when it comes to Spanish, the vowels, he knows how to read already Spanish, so I don't have a problem with that. But he dislikes a little bit the cities of a song school Spanish, so that is a problem because it tends to discourage him. So I just have him review the songs in a different way. Sometimes we use the cities, sometimes we don't. So that's what we're doing with song school Spanish. As well, we continue reviewing nuestra cartilla fonética because I don't want him to forget. I am planning to add some materials that I have been creating and that eventually I would like to share with you guys. I know it's been taking me so long and I've been expressing this so many times. You probably don't believe me anymore, but yes, I am doing some things in here when it comes to Spanish that I would like to eventually share with you guys. So that is what we're doing now. I would like to add on his week off some things to have fun. All those things that I expressed to you guys that we would like to do for art, and all the things that I would like to do when it comes to his interest during those weeks that he is not doing homeschool core subjects. And it's been a little bit complicated, but we've been working with art as well. I would like to add some of the projects that I was going to do with him on his week off on the days that we're doing our core subjects. Example, there's a suggestion in here for sewing, and that is something that we were going to be doing for his interest. And there's a suggestion on unit 3 for sewing, and I would like to do that activity. And I think that then we are combining things, that following his interests, those activities that we were going to do during his week off towards our history, and it's going to be more easy for us to move ahead with the things that we need to be doing and that we want to do. So that is my plan so far when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to tackle a little bit what I was going to be doing when it comes to help him with rhyming and just things like that, you guys know that I want him to work a little bit when it comes to poetry, and I will just like to work with this book. This is something that I purchased not too long ago, well, actually a few time ago, from the library, and we haven't used it so much, and I would like to add it. So that is what you guys saw in this area. Let me see if I can show you guys that I just add that I would like for him to do on week 9 and start with the poetry, and we were not able to do that. So I have already in here the poems that I would like for him to be working with. So he has blizzards, ice cream, and I wanted to some things in a specific, like book the new kid on the block, the pages that he was going to read, identify words that rhyme, how many stanzas, what flavor of ice cream you like the best, some questions for him to answer, some activities for him to do while we are doing poetry. So this is the book that we're going to be using for poetry. It says The New Kid on the Block, and this is what we are going to be using to just expose him more to poetry. I think that is important, and I would like to move him a little bit more when it comes to that, just expose him more to poetry and vocabulary in this type of way. It's a little bit more of a Charlotte Mason way. So hopefully this video is helpful. It gives you ideas on how to plan, as well how we're doing things here in our homeschool. I would like to show you guys here that sometimes I don't have the time to add everything that I want in here, but I do like to add some of the things that we're doing in here as well, because, well, now that we are on November and we are rapidly approaching December, we are going to start having some activities and some time off, and I would like to be able to tackle as much as I can. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you then. Bye bye.